Molweni apha emakhaya senamkela lapha namhlanje inkqubeni yethu ye-Midday Express brought to you by myself MBELE ubele khulu nontando dlambulo langa lokulunga ombitho mbikazi osompiso ndaba ezitha kanjalo nje namhlanje sobe sithetha ngazo zonke izinto ezenzekayo ezindabeni napha kumakhala ekhukhwini ukuba kuqhubeka ntoni kahle kodwa namhlanje andikho ndodwa ndihleli nayo intokazi yaphakathwane kodwa ngibani ke sisi wena
anesekibona hore hamini wetseking hore oqhuba nje without me nesekiri just take over just present the Midday Express Uliwane because already that was 5 minutes of the Midday Express but anyway dumelang ko gae, this is the Midday Express right here on Galaxy Universal Network channel 500 on Stars and Nakalibitso hena ke RORISANG. And as we are still in celebration of Tourism Month and Heritage Month, we will always try and bring you, you know, a little bit of our nativeness within the show.
Ubunsundu bethu bungene phakathi within. Ubunsundu bungene shiq.
Yes. Yes, and thank you to all who are watching also on Facebook. We see you and we really do appreciate all the support and love. As we move on to today's headlines of the day. Now, Nelson Mandela Bay Councillor Andile Lungisa responded to the mother body's instruction for him to step down.
Nearly 35,000 learners expected to go back to school.
And in our African stories now, 2 crew members in the Mauritius cleanup are killed.
In our international stories, the USA will not participate in the distributing COVID-19 vaccines.
Yes. And then moving on, we've got a beautiful interview. Just tell us a little bit about
the beautiful interview. We have Ulungisa joining us today, Andile Lungisa joining us, and Masonwabe. 2 amazing people that we're going to be talking about. One is with culture, Masonwabe, and the other one is with the ANC. What is what and what is happening within the party of the ANC?
Yes. As we move on with the first story now, Nelson Mandela Bay Councillor Andile Lungisa held a press conference yesterday to respond to the ruling party's instruction for him to step down. Now, the ANC regional team has been pressuring Lungisa to step down as a councillor and a branch task team of Ward 2 after being convicted with assault in 2018 for smashing a glass jug against the head of DA Councillor Reno Kesa. Now, Lungisa said he was being purged because he waged a war against corruption, and he said the ANC must be an organization with integrity, and the statement released by the National Executive Committee was talking about rooting out corruption. Now, Lungisa said that people are confusing his case with corruption and he does not steal, and we're going to be conversing with him later on just to clarify on exactly what is really happening on that matter.
Oh man, it's a hard one, really finding that people are, you know, there's like a mix, a confusion about what is what, especially with us South Africans, not really understanding, are you being dismissed or are you stepping down because of coronavirus, with the misspent funds, corruption, and what does he have to say? But it's a beautiful one that we get to talk to him later on the show.
Yes. As we move on with our second story.
The second one is Director General of the Basic Education, Mtazami Mzweli, released figures to Parliament on Tuesday showing that due is to the fear of contracting COVID-19. Nearly 35,000 learners have been released from attending school. Only 7 of 9 provinces provided their figures, with the Eastern Cape and Northern Cape not providing their figures. According to figures supplied, learners in grade 7 and 12 were projected to drop out of school this year because of the disruption of school due to the lockdown. With the need to comply social distancing protocols, schools have been battling to accommodate different grades by offering classes to different grades in the morning and afternoons, or an alternative days or alternative weeks to comply with the social distancing protocol. And here's a video. Really one that I see within my family, because I have a younger brother that is going to grade 8, and today he's not going to school. He said that they are not going, and I was like, why? And they say that other grades are coming to school, and I was like, that's an interesting take, but does he not lose out because exams are about to start in September?
And I think it's quite sad what this coronavirus has actually done, you know, because how do you catch up? Because I know this week it's this set group, and then the following week it's another set group. And then when you're actually even talking to these teachers, it's like sometimes they're not even following, they're not teaching them the same things. It's like maybe one thing was actually missed with this group that
and others are ahead, others are behind. Exactly. And I think the other one is that the grade 7s and matriculant students were expected to drop out, majority of them. So that's another hard-hitting fact, where we're finding the grade 7 students at a possibility to drop out of primary school.
Imagine.
Primary school with no skills of FET, no understanding of what economics is, what history is, what physical sciences is, and yet they expected a possibility that they could have dropped out due to COVID-19.
And these are very crucial grades. Grade 7, you know, is that foundation into going into secondary school, and then matric is also now the foundation to go into tertiary.
Yes.
So I feel like it's two crucial grades that are actually now expected to be hard hit with this, unfortunately, but hopefully they can actually put in more measures, you know, that will actually allow these kids to actually finish school, and knowing that the academic calendar was actually revised, so hopefully it will actually accommodate everyone and that everyone can actually finish school at the end of the day.
True that. It's a hard one. It's a hard one, really thinking about the number of learners in each school. Each school has approximately 1,500 students in a school. So having majority of them present in school, that's why I personally, my views on allow grade 7s, grade 9s and matriculants to go back to school, because they are the priority at this point. Grade 7s need to go to high school. Grade 9s need to have a foundation of what it means to go into the FET stage where they are choosing their subjects. Matriculants need to go to school because universities upon them, it has dawned on them that their prelims are about to start and they're about to get into their final examination of legit their high school journeys that has come to an end.
That's true.
So other grades can stay at home, give them home learning exercises, check up on them every now and again, but those are opinions of myself, and I don't know what the state will ever think if they were to actually consider what people are saying on the ground.
Because another thing is always that thing that, you know, it's not everybody who has the privilege to actually study from home. There are other people, students rather, that are actually going to be exempted and won't be able to actually finish off due to maybe not having data or any form of internet at home. So unfortunately there's always going to be that unfairness that's going to be experienced, and I don't think I'll ever really find a balance where it's like this is it.
We need fiber. I think hashtag Kasi needs fiber should be trending at this point, because we do have a lot of schools within that place where the network and connecting seems to be the hardest thing, where in other places of suburban areas there's better connecting chances of them to really equipped on Zoom, to equipped on other places. Laptops is another thing, smartphones is another thing, parents aren't working, so the schooling system has really been hit hard about producing future presidents, future doctors, lawyers, actors, presenters like myself, and anchors, journalists and producers. So we need to find a common understanding. How do we then move forward, and how do we change the cycle of education as a whole? Are we saying that we should get to matric? Is every learner supposed to get to matric, or are there other ways, other subjects that we could put within high school that allows them a chance so that they can get employment even before they get to matric? I'm not saying that matric is like a dead end or that it shouldn't be there, but we should have alternative ways to allow different learners to actually be counteractive and be interactive within the schooling system. Angela.
How many for president do you see there? How many? As we move on now to our African stories, now 2 crew members from a tugboat who were involved in cleaning up an oil spill off Mauritius died late on Monday when their vessel collided with a barge in bad weather, rather, a local lawmaker said. Now, as we remember, on the 25th of July, an MV Wakashio Japanese bulk carrier carrying 4,000 tons of fuel spilled in the sea, causing an ecological emergency in Mauritius. Now, Mahand, a member of the parliament for the opposition Labour Party, on Tuesday said that 4 other members of the crew were rescued by helicopter and 2 were still missing. He further spoke on how they had the oil spill, then they had the deaths of the dolphins, and now 2 people have been killed. It's quite sad to actually see that Mauritius is still facing all of this now. We know that the oil spill hit it bad, you know, and the ecological life cycle was actually hit bad. And then you saw Mauritius actually coming now and actually even helping with cleaning up the sea. It was very resourceful and very, very creative what they used. They used hair. They actually used hair to actually clean up the oil spillage. So to actually see that they've been trying to actually make sure that, you know, they get back on their feet, to actually now see people who were actually in the forefront to actually help with the cleaning is actually...
Wait. They used hair.
human hair.
To clean up.
To clean up the oil spillage, yes.
Oh, wow.
It was a very amazing story. And I remember even now, even people who were donating their hair got like discounts from the salons to actually make sure to donate to the cause.
That's an interesting fact.
Yeah.
That's an interesting fact because I only saw the top view of the ship and the oil spilling and the few dolphins that were close to it, and it was like a very absurd scene to looking at it and seeing that there is so much oil within the ocean, and that there were dolphins within it and close to it. So it was a really hard one. But if humans and us could come back and say that Ubuntu still exists, then let's come together, man, and help our animals.
But it's actually quite sad to actually have seen now these two men who have actually died, you know, but at least they died actually helping and actually giving back and actually saving marine life. And I think it goes to show that it's not just about saving humans, like you say, they're actually saving the sea life, which is also very important in our life cycle as a whole. So condolences to their families right there.
Absolutely, man. Ish, it's a hard one, but we're still within the African stories, and we're still talking about Zimbabwe's parks authorities that are investigating what actually is happening within Zimbabwe and within Chiono's bail arrest, what is happening with that. So it's a lot of things that are really happening within Zimbabwe at this point, and really not understanding that. How will the world at large, how are Zimbabweans within South Africa going to react to that? And I think you have it for us.
Yeah, just to cover that story now, Zimbabwe's park authorities are investigating the death of 11 elephants in a forest in the west of the country. The park's spokesperson said that on Sunday, and the carcasses of the elephants were discovered on Friday in Pandamis, a forest located between Hwange National Park and Victoria Falls. Now, the blood samples have been taken to a lab for analysis to determine the cause of their deaths. So we see a lot that's just really happening now there in Zimbabwe.
I don't know. Everything is deaths. I don't know what 2020 is about. I don't know what coronavirus is about. I don't know what gender-based violence is about. But there are a lot of things. And it's not only us humans, but our animals are dying. Spirits are dying. So there are a lot of things. We really need to come together as a nation, as the world, as the globe, and really come together and find means and ways to stop the killings of animals. It's a hard one, man. Elephants are really going to be extinct in like a few years if we don't do something right about it.
Because we actually even know, like, you know, how they actually kill them for their tusks and stuff like that. So it's actually quite sad.
And it bruises their skin.
It is so sad. So I guess it's a call. Hopefully they actually get to see what the cause is, and, you know, whoever's involved can be brought to book. And hopefully it's not even something that's from nature that could actually cause these things. Because but 2020 is a rough one. It's a lot. And moving on now into our international stories. With this one, I don't even know what to really say because we know COVID-19 has hit the world at large, you know, very badly, and to actually have a whole country now actually coming and saying that they're not going to be participating in the distribution of the COVID-19 vaccines, it's quite a hard one to look at there. But then just to go over that story, now the White House on Tuesday issued a statement stating that the United States will not participate in a global effort to develop and distribute a coronavirus vaccine, as this is an initiative led by the World Health Organization. Now, in an aim to speed vaccine development and distributing to the most high-risk segment of each population in the different countries, more than 170 countries are already in talks to participate in the COVID-19 vaccine global access, a facility of which the USA will not be a part of. Now, the plan, which is co-led by the WHO, the Coalition of Epidemic Preparedness Innovations, and Gavi, the vaccine allies, was of interest to some members of the Trump administration. Now, the White House spokesperson, Jad Darius, said that the United States will continue to engage the international parties to ensure that they defeat the virus, but they will not be constrained by multiracial organizations influenced by the corrupt World Health Organization and China. So it's actually quite sad to see that 170 countries are actually coming to the forefront and actually want to participate in actually making sure that the vaccines, which are widely available throughout the globe, and the US is just saying undies.
Because I think the United States, and I think the leader, President Donald Trump, is somehow to a certain extent very mixed about what he wants and what he needs to be able to get done, because he's all over the place. The world is saying, let's come together. The world is at a dire pandemic. Let us come together. Let's find a solution. Let's find the vaccines. Yet we still have one president saying that his country will do it alone, and so that he wants to be always that one president is able to do things for himself. And I think because we've all made the United States to be the epitome of any other country within the world, and so that he's making other countries feel the presence that if America's not in it doing it, therefore you'll not find a cure or the vaccine. So I think it's within us, African countries, the countries in the world and east of Africa, so that we all find a vaccine and say that we did it without America. We don't have to always beg and ask and plea for things to get done. If we can, let's do it. If we can't, therefore we'll find at least a city.
But then now, so that's one of the disappointing stories that we could look into in the USA. But with the next one, actually, that you'll take us through, Harmony, it's something kind of more positive, on a positive light, where we saw the US president actually traveled to Kenosha.
Yes.
But let's just take us through that one.
Well, the U.S. President Donald Trump traveled to Kenosha yesterday to survey properties damaged in the recently violent riots, meet with the local residents and who were affected, tour by the Emergency Operations Center, and participate in a roundtable on the community safety. So take a look at Donald Trump meeting with the local communities that side.
I just came from a visit of one of the businesses that was burned down, B&L Furniture, and the great 109-year-old camera shop, which I really respect, because that was had a reputation far beyond the state even, and it's terrible to see. Several other business owners, they're joining us, and we have some in the back also. To stop the political violence, we must also confront the radical ideology that includes this violence. Reckless far-left politicians continue to push the destructive message that our nation and our law enforcement are oppressive or racist. They'll throw out any word that comes to them. Actually, we must give far greater support to our law enforcement. It's all about giving them additional support. These are great people. These are great, great people. These are brave people. They're fighting to save people that they never met before in many.
And still continuing on the Donald Trump issue, the United States president said that he is committed to helping Croatia rebuild. They will be provided with $1 million to Kenosha law enforcement, nearly $4 million to support the small businesses that have suffered, over $42 million to support public safety and statewide. So let's take a look at this one.
I just came from a visit of one of the businesses that was burned down, B&L Furniture, and the great 109-year-old camera shop, which I really respect, because that was had a reputation far beyond the state even, and it's terrible to see.
Yeah, man, that was a hard one, looking at Donald Trump and the things that I think, in a way, and I think because the November elections are coming up in the United States, and he's really trying to buy so many votes.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that he's buying the people by rebuilding the businesses, the small SMEs, and what is happening. So it's a crazy one. It's a give and take what he's doing, but it's a great initiative for him to fly over to Kenosha and help out the people and their businesses after the riots that they've had throughout their fallouts with the police, with the people. Black Lives Matter. So I think them protesting is also a hard one, because buildings were burnt and so forth.
Yeah. It's actually quite sad to actually see when you actually have to wonder if all these political people are actually doing it because, you know, it's really genuine, or
Absolutely.
if they're trying to win votes at the end of the day. But let's just go for a quick ad break right on the Midday Express. And as we come back, we're going to have a very interesting interview. Don't you go anywhere. Stay tuned right here.
Challenge your ordinary. Experience the extraordinary.
Not only the government, the municipality here has had no plan.
Now, I believe that my peace is my most valuable asset.
Absolutely beautiful! This is exactly what I was looking for! DJ Khaled!
It is a day to celebrate.
We're ready for action.
I like it when it's nice and soft.
Yeah, that is nice.
How was it like growing up in Nigeria? Yes, sir, you know what it is.
Feeling is there that, you know, you're doing something special.
Stop being so dramatic, Mira.
You should just be what you want to be.
Experience the extraordinary with StarSat.
Tech Talk brought to you by Tamani Technologies and Systems. Tamani Technologies and Systems takes leadership in fourth industrial revolution. The whole world is facing a transformation. The revolution will be developed into the following stages: digitization, cyber security, Internet of Things, managed services, document management, and business applications. We provide business transformation and ICT solutions with presence in 13 African countries and 2 European countries. We are your leading partner in integrated platform providers, innovation leaders, standalone products, and innovation pace setters. Tamani Technologies and Systems, delivering value across continents.
Experience the extraordinary.
Feeling is there that you're doing something special.
Have you lost it? Move! Stop being so dramatic, Mira.
Challenge your ordinary.
Why don't you start a dance class?
Experience the extraordinary with StarSat.
Violence and sexual abuse against children has become a major social challenge during the COVID-19 lockdown. We appeal to adults, parents, and caregivers to be kind towards children during this lockdown and beyond. Give children the space they need to engage with their reading and learning activities. Do not hit them. Do not yell at them. They are equally frustrated. We urge you to listen, support, and help the children to survive the COVID-19 lockdown. Report immediately any incident of sexual abuse. The Department of Basic Education. Every child is a national asset.
Experience the extraordinary.
I like you, girl, in particular.
Yeah, you got that young.
Challenge your ordinary. Experience the extraordinary with StarSat.
Thank you very much. Welcome back, rather, from the ad break, and you're still watching Midday Express with myself, MBELE, and RORISANG. And today we bring an amazing guest who is studying software development, and he's studying it at the university, or college rather, yes, at Boston Media House. And then it's an amazing one. So today we are joined by Masonwabe Pate, right?
Yes, Masonwabe.
Molo Masonwabe.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Maureen, it's nice to be here.
So before we just get into the interview, can we talk about your name, Masonwabe, right? Just because we're celebrating Heritage Month, just tell us Masonwabe, what it means. I know it's from the Xhosa origin. For anybody around in Africa that just does not know what your beautiful name means.
Well, Masonwabe it basically means let us be happy. So, yeah, basically I'm the second born. I'm the first son in the family. Yeah. So I guess that's where the name came about. How the name came about? The fact that I was the first son, whatever.
Oh wow! So does that, like, in terms of culture, in terms of heritage, does it mean something for you to be the first son within the family?
Well, considering like specifically my family's history, it does play like a huge role in terms of the hierarchy in the family. Okay. Originally, my family, from the oral history that I've been taught from Otatumkhulu and Omankulu, is Pepeta, which is he was a priest, but he was also like a polygamist. So from his different marriages, there were different houses in a sense from the Pepeta name, and therefore the first son of the first house has throughout our family's history been the first, the leader in a sense of the clan.
Okay, so when you've mentioned polygamy within your family, so are you a polygamist? Maybe do you think you're a polygamist?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I guess it's a choice and a decision that is made by someone. I think for you to be a polygamist, you have to have the financial means in order to sustain that. And I'm a student, so I can't afford even a wife. So maybe, who knows? Maybe until I acquire enough wealth to sustain a lifestyle that has more than one partner, then I guess. Depending on how life goes, I might not.
Well, I mean, just talking now about that aspect of culture and tradition, I just want to know, what are some of the cultural aspects that you still live up to till today in our modern times, and what are those that you're still questioning, would say, what is this? I don't really understand this.
There's a lot. My family is very culturally in touch to some extent with like the cultural practices, and there's from an early age I've been I've had experiences of different cultural ritual experiences. Like there was a time when I had an accident where basically I went through a fire. I was playing as a child and I went through a fire, and basically I almost burnt I burnt basically most of my face. I don't know what degree burns on my face and my body. And when I went back to Islalini, back home, my granddad slaughtered chickens and thanked Abapanti for keeping me well after that and whatnot. Those type of things I've grown with them, and there are some cultural things that I sometimes question, but at the same time I do consider, when it comes to culture, I do consider I do my own research when it comes to things, because you can, like, it's the 21st century, you can find information on certain things. When you're unsure of certain things, you can do your own research and find out information. You can, if you do have the luxury of having grown family members who understand things when it pertains to culture and tradition, you can go and ask those type of people. So in my family, I've been lucky to have women who are knowledgeable in my family's history, in our customs, and also men who are also knowledgeable in those things. And also some of the things that I didn't understand, I'd also be able to use resources like Google, and people post blogs on certain things like Istalazelo, the reason or history, some history that is neglected when it comes to South African history. There are people who post blogs who are knowledgeable on some things, and that's how I acquire some of my knowledge, apart from getting it from family.
Oh wow, Masunabe, I hear you very loud and clear, but in you researching and you doing all the things that you're doing, do you think that our history as black young people, or it has been translated within our education system, and plus adding the fact that our women being celebrated within our history for the beautiful works that they've done for the country of Africa?
Yeah, I think when it comes to South African history specifically, I don't know, I can't necessarily speak, but I guess I can. But like with what in me researching a lot of things that I didn't understand, I realized but there's a lot of South African history, a lot of pre-apartheid, pre-colonialism that is neglected, I guess. A whole bunch of it, like I became like obsessed with, even apart from history pertaining to like myself, I became obsessed with like trying to find history on other things, like why things are the way they are with certain people, different people's groups, and the history behind certain kings in those and how some tribes have been formed and stuff like that, the history of those things, which I think really has, in South Africa, has been neglected post-colonialism has really been neglected. And I think I think there's a lot of it's neglect. There's not enough, I guess not enough is being done in terms of changing that, because there's a lot of I didn't when it came to, like, you know, in grade 10 you get to a point, grade 9 you get to a point where you have to pick subjects as to what subjects you want to learn and stuff like that.
So
I was saying, but I was so demotivated by what I had experienced, like in high school, before grade 10, as to like the history, that I didn't want to pick history, and I chose instead to research a lot of things on my own. And I came to find out, but there's a lot of history when it comes specifically, even with South African history, in terms of Black people and a lot of important history as that I think really could impact how we go and move forward as a country, as Black people, that is not taught in high school, not taught in school systems. You really have to go out and look for it on your personal, like, capacity. And you can't rely necessarily on the schooling system or the education system at a high school level to educate you on a lot of things.
No, thank you so much. Now, just moving on to Mhlambe, is there a point maybe in your life where you felt, or would say, you needed to fit in, and, you know, you being a Xhosa is not more, you know, is not important enough, and you actually wanted to now become more westernized and move away from your culture? Is there a point where in your life you just felt, would say, you know what, this Xhosa thing is not me?
Well, there's a lot of I think we've all somewhat, to some degree, have had those experiences as Black people, where we question a lot of things. We barely find answers to a lot of things. There's a lot of experiences, I guess, with, I'm not speaking for myself. I guess I wouldn't be speaking for myself only when I say, but there's a lot of influence, Western influence, in our lifestyles and in the mindset of a lot of young Black people in South Africa. But also, I guess, for me, I'd encourage a lot of Black South Africans to look up, like, their history. Specifically, like, a great starting point would be looking up isiThakazelo. The meaning, the history behind this isiThakazelo Zabo, that really leads you into a pathway of discovering a lot of information that you might not have known. Like, for me personally, I always grew up with the thinking about Xhosa and stuff, and then I discovered, but no, there's a lot of history that I didn't know about my family that is beyond just being Xhosa. I'm actually not necessarily Xhosa, and that is due to the fact of, well, there's a lot of Western influence within also African identification, I guess, because you go to Eastern Cape and you think about it's just I'm a Xhosa, and you don't consider because I'm a Mpondo Misi, I'm a Fengu, I'm a Hlubi, and that, like, the different Xhosa groups, I guess, and a lot of people and some people feel forced. Some of those cultures feel marginalized because of this, because they can't necessarily identify and explicitly state their identity, and they have to be grouped with a group that they don't necessarily identify with, even though they're culturally similar. They don't necessarily identify as, but they have to because that's the only option that they're given.
Oh wow, Masonwabe. It's such a beautiful point that you're making on is Thakazela uzazibangubani, where you're from, and so that you understand the power of your lineage, right? And when ungazithutha ungubani wena Phephetha?
Mna ndingungwane, nduzinoblongwe, inkomo esengalizilele, ungwadi, zikhali, masumba. Yeah, that's just a snippet of what I.
Yeah.
Amazing,
man. That is such a beautiful one to know that there is a young man in South Africa, even from Gauteng, who is really representing and trying to find out where he's from and where his lineage comes from the top of Koqamata. And it's beautiful, man, knowing that so that is a beautiful one, man. Kudos to you. Thank you very much for joining us right here on the show, Masonwabe.
Thanks for the opportunity. Yeah.
Thank you, man. Thank you very much.
Now that is Masonwabe, right? They're talking to us about, tracing back our heritage and our culture. And stay tuned right here on the Midday Express as we come back with more stories. Don't go away.
Tech Talk brought to you by Tamani Technologies and Systems. Tamani Technologies and Systems takes leadership in fourth industrial revolution. The whole world is facing a transformation. The revolution will be developed into the following stages: digitization, cyber security, Internet of Things, managed services, document management, and business applications. We provide business transformation and ICT solutions with presence in 13 African countries and 2 European countries. We are your leading partner in integrated platform providers, innovation leaders, standalone products, and innovation pace setters. Tamani Technologies and Systems, delivering value across continents.
Experience the extraordinary.
Feeling is there that, you're doing something special.
Have you lost it? Move! Stop being so dramatic, Mira.
Challenge your ordinary.
Why don't you start a dance class?
Experience the extraordinary with StarSat.
Violence and sexual abuse against children has become a major social challenge during the COVID-19 lockdown. We appeal to adults, parents, and caregivers to be kind towards children during this lockdown and beyond. Give children the space they need to engage with their reading and learning activities. Do not hit them. Do not yell at them. They are equally frustrated. We urge you to listen, support, and help the children to survive the COVID-19 lockdown. Report immediately any incident of sexual abuse. The Department of Basic Education. Every child is a national asset.
Experience the extraordinary.
I like you, girl, in particular.
Yeah, you got that young.
Challenge your ordinary. Experience the extraordinary with StarSat.
fact is, I'm here. What's the name of that building? But I'll say it differently. The fact is, we're here and they're not.
Today, we see pain, hurt, and destruction in the ashes of wildfires and the damage of Hurricane Laura. We encourage everyone to continue.
Welcome back from the ad break, man. You guys are so umasonoabe Pepeta joining us live with Zoom, and we had a conversation about him, about heritage and what it means to him. But unfortunately, we cannot get a hold of Andile to join us right here in studio today via Zoom, rather. So that's a hard one. But we're still continuing with the stories that we have for you guys. The official spring day is the 21st of September, and when it comes with the attitude, it uplifts the spirit of many of South Africans. And Arbor Day being celebrated in South Africa in the month of September, where everyone, whether you're in school, you're an adult, you're a company, where you guys are able to go out and plant trees so that we can all have trees to last us a decade. And spring is the time for change, and it is what you can do to make South Africa better. In South Africa, we can celebrate several important days in September. We have Arbor Week as well as Heritage Day. There are massive recycling days, environmental days, World Heart Day, and Pancake Day. Using these days, we can do so much good for ourselves and others. So, man, it is all about spring. It is all about in the spirit of being happy, blossoming with beautiful things happening within our country. So, spring is spring.
But it must start being all sunny now. I feel like it's so unfortunate that we are experiencing this cold front. I mean, we saw yesterday it was really extremely cold, even today. So I really feel like, you know, we've lost that whole springness of spring, you know, where it's all sunny.
But hey, Friday, the weather forecast seems to be opening up on Friday. Maybe it better open up because my birthday month, y'all. It's my birthday month, y'all.
It better. And just moving on into that Western Cape story.
Western Cape receives a global stamp to mark the start of Tourism Month. The Western Cape government is excited to announce that the Western Cape has been awarded the prestigious Safe Travel Stamp by the World Travel and Tourism Council. Following announcements by Stellenbosch, Paarl, Wellington, the City of Cape Town, and the V&A Waterfall, are actually excited to open up the City of Cape Town and the province so that they can get into welcoming tourists, welcoming guests, and so that the World Organization protocols and further inspires and that are being followed. And this is a confidential statement that was said by the Premier of Cape Town. But everything else is beautiful. It's green seas. Cape Town is opening, and we have beautiful places in Cape Town. The sea, they have that beautiful color block they have in Cape Town, those homes. So Table Mountain. Yeah, man, it's beautiful. And during Tourism Month, David Miane said that the Provincial Minister of Finance and Economic Opportunities will be visiting businesses across the province to engage with them, listen to them, and identify ways that we can work together and rebuild our economy for the Western Cape.
It's actually quite beautiful to actually see like all these beautiful sites now opening up where people can let their hair loose. I mean, it's been really tough. Like I said, COVID-19 has really taken its toll, and to actually just still see them actually making sure that precautionary measures are still put in place with their social distancing and your sanitizing. It's actually beautiful to actually see that, you know, they're not just being careless about it, just opening it up and not actually making sure that people are still safe during these COVID-19 times.
That is absolutely true. And I think Cape Town being like the sun, I think whenever you ask South Africans or people from the world, which one destination do you have on your bucket list? It's always Cape Town. And I think them being able to open, making sure that the protocols are adhered to, and that opportunities, small businesses, SMEs, every now and again on the beach side, so that they too somehow can find something beautiful to celebrate during Heritage Month, and actually so that the community, the people can come together and say that united we stand even against COVID-19, but we can celebrate Heritage Month, and so that we find the diversities within our country.
And also talking about September as a month now, we see in the US that actually September is a National National Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, you know, and the First Lady of the U.S. Now, she said that this is a time for them to remember those who they have lost, acknowledge the progress and research that has been advanced, and continue to support the brave children battling with this disease and their families in this fight. I think with cancer, we see that it's one of those heart diseases that actually take a lot of people, unfortunately, and to actually have kids suffering from this must be really sad. So to actually acknowledge that we know that there are kids, unfortunately, who are suffering from this, and to just give back to them is quite a good thing.
It's a hard one too. It's a hard one too, I think, to even consider that children are going through pain that adults also go through. How are they dealing with? But in September, the White House is going to be lit yellow. It's going to be lit yellow just to celebrate and so that during
tonight actually
oh, that is beautiful, man. So that September, I feel like it's that pillar, that blossoming month within the calendar of every single year that we have. Things are coming out, blooming things. We're celebrating the birth of not only myself but of flowers, of
there you go again. It's not about you right now, how many we're talking about the cancer children.
Absolutely, but hey, not forgetting that too. But yeah, it's a hard one. But I think that even our countries are doing beautiful things, even in the United States, that they are coming together to have funds to put together kids and say that we can help them through dialysis, through the treatment that they're going to be going through. So even with the heartfelt messages that people are going to be sending for the people in the United States. But actually, Gloria, I have a question for you.
Yes.
That it's Heritage Month. We have a news bulletin every single day. Good news for the people. What are your good news as a person that have made you excited today or this past week?
Well, I think for me, most important is just what we're about to bring here, you know, getting to know our different types of culture. I always say that our tradition and culture is not just where we stem from, like your Sotho, your Xhosa, your Zulu, but we've got street culture as well that have made us who we are. So I think I'm more excited to actually see what we can actually bring. And actually, this is also another call to anybody who's watching. If you've got a story to tell about your culture or heritage, if you are a dancer, maybe, or a poet or a singer, do go down into our comment section right there, and we could actually have you in studio right there. It is at Galaxy Universal Network on Facebook, at gun_TV on Twitter and Instagram as well. We'd really love to celebrate and you know, acknowledge where we come from.
Absolutely. And you just mentioned street culture, and so many historical things are coming into my mind. Even soccer could be one of the heritage that we celebrate. Is it a heritage, something that we could celebrate as South Africans? So those are the questions. Those are the things that we're going to be bringing onto the show, so that we can all have this conversation and engage and interact on a deeper level on what is our culture, what is our heritage, and it could be the small things that we don't pay attention to. Is fashion heritage?
Fashion is heritage. I mean, anything that brings us together and actually now defines us as people, I think becomes a part of us and becomes our culture at the end of the day. I mean, we've seen it evolve over the years and over the times. I mean, what we are living today and what we are doing is not the same with what our forefathers and parents used to do. So I think it's quite beautiful to have seen culture evolving, but then again, also, it's quite sad to actually see it being lost as well. So yeah, it's just one of those things.
It's just scathing through. It's being lost, and yet we have to find a way to bring it back. And so that's why we have Midday Express, to bring you all the latest news within Heritage Tourism Month. Don't even forget that we are still celebrating tourism, our beautiful attractions within South Africa, not only in South Africa, but in the world, where we all originated from. And actually, where do we come from as Africans? That is another topic that we're going to be talking about right on Midday Express. Well, from myself, MBELE, thank you very much for joining us today on the show, and you can interact with us across every social media platforms, and on Twitter and Instagram it is gun_TV, on Facebook it is Galaxy Universal Network, and mchana bendinga bindoda benaba nesizatsa ismaramara yena dombona uthi hayi nani, am I watching Galaxy? Obviously, and she is
RORISANG. Do catch us again, same time, same place
tomorrow. Adios.